Welcome back to Planning for Your Purpose. Hi everybody, it's Dennis LaVoy with Telos Financial. Thanks for joining me today for another video blog. Today I'm going to talk about one of the building blocks of financial planning, estate planning. I'm not an attorney. This is not legal advice, obviously. I just wanted to give you a brief overview for what estate planning is. When you meet with a financial planner, what you should expect to sort of discuss, what some of those terms mean, and ultimately when you go to meet with an attorney to have your estate planning documents done or to discuss them to decide if they're appropriate or not, just to give you a little introduction. If you're a DIYer, I think this is helpful as well, where you can sort of get an introduction to what some of the terms are and be aware of what's out there. Today I'm going to talk about 4 documents that are common in many estate planning documents. Again, you'd have to talk to an attorney to see what's appropriate for you. But today we're going to talk about wills, trusts, powers of attorney, and living wills. First off, what is estate planning generally? Estate planning is ultimately planning for what happens for your estate. What's your estate? It's all the stuff that you leave behind when you pass away. So it's making decisions for how you want those things handled after you pass away. It's not a pleasant discussion. It's tough to think about. Can be very difficult. Can be difficult conversations. But it's well worthwhile to put some time and some thought and energy into it. If you're younger, millennials, it's very important to have. If you have young kids like I do, for my wife and I, estate planning was very important. We have 2 small children. We want to know if something happens to us, who's going to take care of them? Who's going to handle the money to make sure their needs are taken care of? So that's the importance of that. That's just one situation. So first, a will. A will handles anything in your estate that's done through probate. So when you pass away, things are handled 2 ways, by function of law and by function of contract. By function of contract is anything that has beneficiaries listed directly. Your IRAs, your 401ks, your non-retirement accounts. Any account you have, bank accounts, anything, you should have a beneficiary listed on. If you don't. Any investment accounts, all my clients know we review the beneficiaries once a year just to make sure they don't want to make any changes, make sure nothing's changed. Anything that you can't list a beneficiary on, watches, jewelry, cars, anything like that. Those are the things that are handled through probate. There are far too many uses for trusts for me to discuss. And again, I'm not a trust expert, but one of the uses for them is if you have small children, you can set up a trust to manage the assets for your children. Or if you lack capacity for whatever reason, whether it's age of majority, whether it's other reasons, trusts can be appropriate in those situations. There are a lot of uses for them, but that's one of the most common. It's something I would discuss with an attorney to see if your situation requires a trust or it would give you some benefits to a trust. Next, powers of attorney. Powers of attorney, and there are multiple types of these again as well, but a power of attorney lets somebody essentially manage your life for you. They lets you make legal decisions for you, whether it's financial decisions, medical decisions, all of those pieces. The power of attorney gives somebody the capability to do that. You want an attorney to draft these because you don't, maybe you do, but in most cases you don't want to just give somebody control over all your stuff, where they could sign the house over to themselves, assign your bank accounts to them. You want it to happen in a springing fashion, where you get in a car accident and you're incapacitated for whatever reason, or when a situation like that where you can't handle your estate for a certain reason, you want somebody to be able to make those decisions for you. So if you are in that car accident, you're in the hospital for days, weeks, you want somebody to be able to make sure your accounts are getting paid, your bills. In a worst case scenario, you were in the hospital for a few weeks, nobody's paying your bills, now you get out of the hospital, you're trying to recover, and you're also trying to handle your financial affairs as well. It's much easier to have somebody who can step in that you trust to be able to take care of those pieces for you. Again, it's not a pleasant conversation, but it's something to consider, something you want to have thought through so that those pieces are in place. Last, a living will. A living will sort of discusses how you want your medical treatment to be handled in the worst case of things. It's, do you want to be put on a respirator? What sort of support do you want or not want? So again, those are 4 of the most common documents you see: a will, a trust, a powers of attorney, and a living will. There are other forms as well that come into play. All of these will be applied differently to your situation depending on what your goals are and your life situation. But it's good to think them through. It's good to know what options are out there and know that you can make those decisions. Because if you don't make the decisions, somebody's going to make them for you, and it may or may not be what you want. So it's better that you make them for yourselves. It makes it easier on your loved ones when something does happen to you. They know what your wishes were. Have those documents done. Have those difficult conversations. I'd strongly advise you to meet with your financial advisor or attorney to discuss some options and discuss what may or may not be appropriate for you, and make sure you just think it through. Talk to your loved ones. So that's it. Thanks for joining me today. It's Dennis LaVoy with Telos Financial. Make sure to check out my website for more videos, more blogs, more information. Schedule a consultation and we can review your financial situation today. See you next time.